but what?
Like you
I learned there's a lot of marketing BS out there.
Yeah, I know. That's it. That's all you. That's all. That's all he freaking remembers, man. It's like we talked about AI so much. This man should have a PhD in artificial intelligence, LLMs, whatever the hell it's called. You know what I mean? For 3 straight years, we've been discussing this stuff, man. And he should know it from the inside out, and he's still.
Artificial intelligence is a concern. It is a concern.
He actually won me over more on the whole commercialism part of it, because I've even talked to Otto about this, and I was like, I think people freaking are making too much of a big deal out of this shit. Just way too much.
The problem is, you've got to define things. What do you mean by intelligence? And it's interesting. The psychology used to worry a lot about this, but it doesn't too much lately. But what's his name there? Stanford, the guy that was the Stanford Binet IQ test. He was asked, "What is intelligence?" His reply was, "Intelligence is what my test measures."
Yeah.
Okay, so that's So I think what most people, when they throw around this idea of artificial intelligence, I think what they mean is artificial consciousness, something that is reflexive and aware of itself, and has its own agenda.
That is exactly right.
So
that is exactly right. Again, something that has its own agenda.
Right, something that has basically, and I'm going to pull out my Buddhist card here. And Buddhism has this idea that anyone that isn't a fully awakened being is, to a greater or lesser extent, basically crazy. And when we have an image in our heads that we take identity in, right? We have a picture in our heads. We want something because we have this image that we don't have it. We want it to be this way. I don't have this, but I could have this if I do that, right? And we're dissatisfied with now because we're paying attention to this picture in my head with a bigger car, or another girlfriend or something like that. Well, whatever you're looking for. This is just for the sake. So it means, in other words, that you have to look away from the moment, really, in a certain sense.
Okay, time out. What's going on?
Time out. We have Otto onto the show. I want to introduce Roger to Otto.
Roger?
Roger Landry.
Landry. I know Roger Hanson already.
No. We have Roger Landry on the line, founder of TLB Media Project, and also main founder of TLB Talk.
Oh, groovy. Very groovy. Pleased to meet you.
Well, I'm enjoying the company, so pleased to meet you, gentlemen.
Oh, groovy.
Now just understand too that Untethered is probably the coolest show that freaking you could be on, because you get a bunch of people on here that talk about stuff that they completely disagree with, but for some reason we come up with good talking points. Just to give you a heads up, Roger, on that. So even though
I'm going to give you guys a heads up. So far, I have enjoyed the hell out of this, and I think it's going to continue. So, thank you for the invitation.
And you're always welcome.
Cool. Well. Anyway, at the end of the day, my short version is basically from a Buddhist standpoint. In order to get something to have what we consider to be consciousness, we basically have to introduce things like basically delusion. Which is, as Buddhists, we're trying to get away from. So would it be fair? And I came up with this theory that the reason why we're having trouble considering that AI might be conscious is, now, wait a minute, what if it were conscious, but it was conscious the way an arhat, an enlightened being, is? Right? We wouldn't be able to recognize it because we are limited through our delusions. So in order for us to think that it was conscious, we would have to introduce these delusions. And dare we introduce delusions to what is, in theory, I mean, I actually don't think AIs are arhants. I am not that much of a heretic or anything like that, but it is an argument that... that could be one reason why something doesn't look conscious. It could be because it's not conscious, or it could be because we can't recognize it.
Well, I was going to go the opposite way.
That's the big point.
I believe that these things can be intelligent. However, for consciousness, so I have what's called the 3 pillars. This is something that is kind of basic that speculative Freemasons should know, but they don't. You have the 3 pillars, which one stands for intelligence, one stands for common sense, and the third one stands for wisdom. You got to have all 3, or at least a makeup, whatever the balance, or imbalance. You have to have all 3 of these things in order to have the consciousness or awareness. Intelligence, it can be intelligent. The machine can be intelligent. So,
intelligence, I mean, I think, and Mark Edworthy, we were talking about this, I seem to recall some time ago about the idea that when we created these LLMs, these AIs, we were modeling it on our own ideas of how our minds work. And I have a feeling that they were using basically behavioral psychology, Skinner, stimulus response. And that is a very workable psychological model. I don't think it explicates the human brain entirely, but it's a very good working model. So I think with talking about a machine intelligence, you have to, what kind of psychology are you talking about here? So from a stimulus response point of view, as I point out, primitive artificial intelligence is when you break the beam of an electric eye and a door opens. Stimulus response. That's intelligent in a sense, right? It's doing something that you want it to do. It's very primitive. But what we've got now is simply that on a much, much faster and grander scale, using a lot of energy, a lot of electricity.
I think you were talking to me about that because we were actually, that's whenever I brought up the topic of, like, I was thinking that about AI for the longest time too, until I started getting farther into that and I found out that it's not just AI. The computer itself, our modern computers are based off of the human brain. It's
right. Oh yeah, I remember. Yes, you were right. That's right. We were talking about the human brain. Yeah. That's right. Based on the human brain rather than the brain based on the computer. That's right. We were talking about modeling, and I've always said you can model the brain with a computer, but the brain is not a computer.
Right.
But it's
but you can set a computer
way to model.
It's easy.
So
brain can simulate what a computer does, but it cannot do what a computer does.
Right. Exactly.
What about the argument that the brain is an organic computer in itself?
Well, see, we have what they call we have plasticity. See, and that's something that a computer can never simulate. It can try its best, but plasticity is very important to the human brain. Okay, it's something that's very unique that a computer just can't.
Define a computer. Define what you mean by a computer.
When you talk about plasticity, that requires self-reflection.
Right, and with plasticity, it also reroutes its way of thinking. It creates different paradigms. Okay, and that's what they're getting into now with freaking deep learning. But they're not all the way there. I think they've only came out with like maybe 3 or 4 different paradigms. But
you hit the nail right on the head twice with the word paradigms, because that's exactly what we're talking about. You're right.
Mm-hmm. And it's hard for people to comprehend that. Like this is something that's real deeply ingrained into the human brain that I don't think a computer system will be able to simulate.
Something I need to mention here, Roger Landry here also did a show for many years called, what was it, Eradicating Programmed Ignorance or something like that?
Yes.
Well, that sounds interesting. What was that about?
It was basically doing exactly what we're doing here. It's telling people what they should know, not what they've been told.
Always interesting to do. We try to do.
So, let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
With a computer, if you was to take your mind and put it into the computer, or the computer into your mind, wouldn't it learn from it?
So he's basically, earlier he was asking about that. He was like, if you took and did the reverse, instead of taking your mind and putting it into a computer, if you took the computer's artificial intelligence, LLMs, and you put that in the human brain, what do you think?
To
I don't know how you would do that.
Well, let's say in theory it's possible. Are you talking about supplementing, or are you talking about replacement?
Like when you have like a wreck and your brain somewhat
gets
and
damaged.
then you put circuitry into your brain to reroute the lead.
Again, supplemental or replacement.
That would be a mechanical idea of what plasticity.
I mean, if you're replacing your brain with some sort of
a section of your brain.
Well, see, when I was talking about plasticity, that's where plasticity in the brain takes place. Like if you have brain damage and it's been damaged, and they put something in there,
a
device in there that would be functioning as what the brain would supposed to be able to do naturally with plasticity. Okay.
I would say that's so you're talking about supporting the organ, like the brain is an organ. It's separate from the mind. So the brain has been damaged, or you want to like Mark's saying, supplement it somehow. It might not be damaged. Maybe you just want a little more oomph. You know. Yeah. You know, I'm running straight pipes on my brain. You know, whatever you're gonna do. You know, I got a Holly quad carb now.
I think it's all about the connectivity. It really is, and trauma, it lessens that connectivity. And if you're really just hunkered down studying something, it increases that plasticity. And I do believe that this is one of the basic functions of the brain, is what can it take and how can it take it, and it presents that to us. And anybody here who's done any serious studying knows what happens when you overstress your brain. When you, I've been doing this for 6 hours, I can't take another 30 seconds of this, my brain's going to explode. So the thing here is, what we're talking about here, this is all natural. And it's a matter of acceptability, and each and everybody's level is different. What we try to do when we put out all that we put out, and we put out some damn good stuff, what we try to do is make the information as pliable across the broadest part of the spectrum as we can. It's not always doable.
I'd like to welcome Tan on. Glad you're back, Tan.
Hello, gentlemen.
Hey, Dan. Ray.
Tan High Tran. Man.
No, I came in. I guess I stayed out in the backyard for too long.
I
came inside and I didn't feel too. I didn't feel too good. First day, spring allergy season, right? So.
Yes.
Didn't feel too great starting out in the morning either, but yeah.
I was telling my brother that he likes to not worry about the weather, and I'm like, just because it's in the middle of April getting ready to hit May, don't think that it's okay because it's not cold anymore, because cold is still cold. You know, when you wake up in the morning and it's 45 degrees, you need to make sure that heater's up to where you at least get 65, 70 degrees in your house when you wake up.
Well, to me, I feel like I got that Norwegian in where
that's what it is.
I don't feel the cold like my brother or my family. I would have to be freezing cold.
He would have pneumonia before he even realized he was sick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hurricanes and tornadoes like this time of the year better than any other. Hurricanes and tornadoes, this is their favorite time of the year.
They've been getting some tornadoes. I think I saw something on the news down in Texas, was it? Texas area?
Yep. There's been a couple of them already.